सब्सक्राइब कीजिए ध्येय IAS चैनल को और बेल आइकन को दबाइए लेटेस्ट वीडियो सबसे पहले देखने के लिए।
India and the US are planning for its third 2+2 ministerial meeting between External Affairs Minister and Defense Minister of India and the US Secretary of State along with the Defense Secretary in New Delhi on October 26 to 27. The Deputy Secretary of State visited India last week to lay the groundwork for the high-level visits. The agenda of this meeting will comprise of the Basic Exchange and Cooperation Agreement, that is BECA, a pact with deep military implications. In the previous two meetings, agreements known as LEMOA and COMCASA were signed. In today's edition of our DNS, we will be discussing about BECA, the other two agreements, and what these three pacts mean together. Let us first begin by talking about what is BECA. The Basic Exchange and Cooperation Agreement, BECA, largely pertains to geospatial intelligence and sharing information on maps, satellite images for defense. As per the officials, anyone who sails a ship, flies an aircraft, fights wars, locates targets, responds to natural disasters, or even navigates with a cell phone relies on geospatial intelligence. Signing BECA will permit India to use the US's advanced geospatial intelligence and enhance the accuracy of automated systems along with weapons like missiles and armed drones. It will also give access to topographical and aeronautical data and products that will help navigation and targeting. India and the US have stepped up efforts to sign the pact during the upcoming 2+2. This flows from the commitment in the joint statement during US President Donald Trump's visit in February this year, when the two sides had said they looked forward to an early conclusion of BECA. So what are the other two agreements about? The first agreement, that is LEMOA, the Logistics Exchange Memorandum of Agreement, was signed between India and the US back in August 2016. It allows the military of each country to replenish from the other's bases, that is access supplies, spare parts and services from the other country's land facilities, air bases and ports, which can then be reimbursed. This is very useful for Navy-to-Navy cooperation since the US and India are cooperating closely in the Indo-Pacific. In terms of military, once naval ships are strategic assets and use of another country's base would expose one's military asset to the host. If signing LEMOA needed trust, its application enhances the trust. It took almost a decade to negotiate LEMOA. This, in a sense, has bridged the trust deficit and paved the way for the remaining foundational pacts. The next in the list is COMCASA, that is the Communications Compatibility and Security Agreement, which was signed back in September 2018 after the first 2+2 dialogue in which the then External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj and Defense Minister Nirmala Sitharaman met, visiting US Secretary of State Michelle R. Pompeo and then Secretary of Defense James Mattis. It allows the US to provide India with its encrypted communications equipment and systems so that Indian and US military commanders, aircraft and ship can communicate through secure networks in peace and war. COMCASA made the way for transfer of communication security equipments from the US to India to facilitate interoperability between their forces, also potentially with other militaries that use US origin systems for secure data links. What do these three pacts together mean? While LEMOA means one partner trusts the other enough to expose its valuable assets, on the other hand, COMCASA means one is confident that it can rely on encrypted systems to connect the two militaries, and BECA means it can share highly classified information in real time without the fear of being compromised. All this signifies the level of trust that has been developed between the two countries and their militaries faced with an increasingly aggressive China. So what does this mean in the context of the ongoing border standoff? Amid the longest standoff on the China-India border in 3 decades, India and the US have intensified under the radar intelligence and military cooperation at an unprecedented level, especially since the month of June. Conversations between the two countries have facilitated information sharing between security, military, and intelligence branches of the two countries. The cooperation includes sharing of high-end satellite images, telephone intercepts, and data sharing of Chinese troops and weapons deployment along the 3,488-kilometer line of actual control. The Indian Defense Establishment has also enhanced the capability with some American equipments. Now lastly, let us know what is the catch in all these cooperation. The US wants India to move away from Russian equipment and platform. This is because it may expose its technology and information to Moscow, while India is wary of Pakistan's deep-rooted ties with Pentagon and Washington's dependence on Rawalpindi for access to Afghanistan, as well as its exit strategy.